afternoon, Plum here, and I was at the War and Peace show just a couple of days ago. Had a really good day. Now you're probably wondering, why isn't it video, Plum? Show us some video. There's a little bit at the very end, but my camera's not very capable of doing video. My stills camera, my professional camera that I use professionally, is bang up to the job. So rather than give you second-rate video, I thought I'd give you first-rate photography instead, which I know a little something about. So I've collated here a couple of hundred of the photographs, and they're going to whiz by the screen pretty quickly. Obviously, if you want to look at any more in detail, pause it. So first of all, we're going to run through all the different vehicles that I saw while I was there. It's set in it must be hectares of land. I'm not exactly sure how large the site is, but I didn't get around every single row of every single aisle where people were camping with their equipment and their vehicles. But I did most of it, and I was there all day. So you can imagine how big it is. It is enormous, and there is every conceivable kind of vehicle you can possibly imagine. It's, in case you're unaware, it is just military paraphernalia. It's everything you can imagine that's to do with the military, from virtually any era you can think of. Long, deep, dark past, all the way up to the current, present day. Every conflict seems to be represented almost. But principally focusing most definitely on the 20th century. And you can just get lost wandering around looking at these vehicles, and these people like nothing more, because they're all private owners, they like nothing more than talking to you about their vehicles. So ask them a question and they'll give you an answer, and then you'll be stood there for half an hour trying to leave because they want to keep talking to you about their vehicles. So what did I see? I saw, that was cool. That was like something out of Thunderbirds, that thing. They're going by too quickly now. I sort of made this video so it's not too long, because I had them for 5 seconds on the screen. That just seems to take too long. It's like a 20-minute video. So I've compromised. This is what we've got. I think it's a nice in-between thing. Germans, we saw the British, we saw the Americans, and then we saw every other conceivable origin of a military vehicle you can possibly imagine, and more. Some things you just think, who designed that and why? Things on caterpillars, things on wheels. It was just an awesome display of everything to do with army, and I did see a naval officer walking around actually. Well, I didn't see any ships, but they haven't got any water there, so I imagine if they did, they probably would have. They seem to have everything else. They had some enormous equipment, small stuff, miniature stuff. They had a model centre full of miniatures and models that people have been making, which was really good to see. Even a really nice Lego established scene full of tanks and so forth. That's given me some inspiration to build some Lego tanks in my little boy. That Challenger tank was pretty awesome. There's a bit of video of that at the end. There's the mighty Cromwell. In terms of tanks, which is what you best know me for, being Plum Tanker, there's only a handful. It probably only makes up 2% of the vehicles that are there, the tanks. Everything else is just everything else. It's just incredible. This is in the main arena area where they'd be speeding around while the commentators would be chatting about the vehicles, and gives me a chance to get some motion shots. And the dust, you can see the dust. That effect is just from the dirt and the dust. I went home several shades darker than when I arrived, and oh my god, the colour of the water in the shower I had. It was good though. It was really awesome. Then Jeeps. That is possibly the most represented vehicle on site. You could not move without seeing a Jeep go past you or be parked up somewhere. It has got to be, for obvious reasons, the most popular vehicle at these events, because pretty much anyone can get their hands on one and anyone can actually drive one. You don't need any special equipment to probably look after one, just a regular toolkit. No doubt it's all Imperial. And they're just fantastic little machines that are great fun to own and have. The grin on people's faces driving around, and they're in character costume, and you just give them a glance and look at them. They were absolutely thrilled just to be there in their Jeep in authentic gear. And every single variant possible. If you're a Jeep lover, War and Peace is the show for you. There I heard languages from all over the world while I was walking around this place. It is an international event. Cool outfit that guy's got on. Royal Air Force with the missus. Bumbling around in an American Jeep, it looks like. And was that a Jeep? I'm not sure. Anyway, then we get into the living history area. Probably this area might well have been my favourite to photograph, because you get just the right angle and you can actually make it look like an authentic photograph from 70, 80 years ago. You just got to do a little bit of editing if you want to, just to remove a few bits of background stuff. But for instance, that could be then. Doesn't necessarily have to be now. You just got to pick your angles and recommend a very long lens, so you can get far back, zoom in, background goes out of focus, and it makes your editing a lot more easy. Some of these shots they could just simply be, remove the wristbands and you're there, transported back in time. All the equipment is obviously historically either accurate or it is actually equipment from the era. Love that shot. That guy, the officer, having his silver service tea with a Panther tank, and probably the Germans were the best, actually. Thinking about it, the Germans had a fantastic area in the living history. It was a huge area, closely followed by the Americans here, and this is them on the battlefield firing blanks, and they had a couple of machines putting down fire support, and that large caliber gun behind that was thundering away for the entire display. The clackety clack of automatic machine gun fire and 50 cals on backs of some machines. It was awesome. Then they had to stop it a bit early because some of the ground caught fire where they let off some explosives, because it was a very hot, dry day. If you just stand around, you can just pick off these beautiful shots that people just, in character, part of the living history area, and it's a wonderful thing to see. It really was. Monty Python was there as well. The British, ironically, not as well represented as you might think, being that it's set in England. I'd say the Americans were very well established. The Germans were everywhere. They really did a fantastic job. And they're not necessarily German, they're just dressed up as Germans. But the German nation was very well represented. And then the British, we had some fantastic outfits running around. Look at that. Bit of a bleach on the old colours makes everything look authentic from my point of view. And then I'd run about also grabbing shots of paraphernalia, bits and bobs, all the things that make it look authentic on the day. All of the equipment, guns, chairs, tents, rations, grenades, fuel cans, even down to the flask and the cup. It's almost a breathtaking sight when you get there and you see it. It's just a shame there's ropes and sort of walkways between us all. It would be even better perhaps if there wasn't the walkways and they could just set up a big camp and you just walk amongst it, but then that would make my life hell trying to get pictures. I'm really pleased with some of these detail shots I managed to grab, and I did if there's any technos out there, I did nearly all of that with a 300mm lens on my camera, being far away so I'm not intruding in anyone's personal space. The last thing you want to do is kind of get so close to somebody that you're right in their face and take a picture, because they're always constantly aware of you. That sort of photography, particularly with people, you want to be as far away as possible so you can point your camera at them and they don't know they're being photographed, so they're being completely natural, which I seem to convey quite well in a lot of those shots. I was really pleased with. And all of these images, I was a photographer in a candy store, or a photographer in a photography shop, I guess. I was just clicking away, and I think I took over 700. I checked, I thought I took about 500, got home and copied them off, and there's over 700 images, and this is only about 200 of them, but these are the better ones. For every good photograph, there's always a pretty dud one, I've got to say. And in a minute we're going to come up on my favourite photographs of the day, which I'll talk you through. There's only 5 or 6, but I was really pleased with how they turned out, and surely there's got to be a use for them out there somewhere. They're really lovely images. So that's the post office underground, the British one, a little Sherman tank. Anyway, here's my favourite snaps of the day. First up, this shot of the German officer on top of the Panther tank, cigarette alight, reading his German newspaper. It looks so authentic. There's nothing in the background that would tell you it wasn't authentic, really. This young lady was on the back of a armoured vehicle. You probably noticed her in some of the other shots, and it's just a lovely contrast. A young girl on a 50 cal. It's kind of what War and Peace is all about. Lovely detail shot of the American flag. The sun was out intermittently, and that I took about 12 of that before I got one that I was even closely happy with. Maybe we would like a bit more blue on the stars, but it was so. Anyway, I love a bit of symmetry myself, so lined up this shot of classic Coca-Cola bottles from the American camp. Bit of a blue filter on the left, bit of an orange filter on the right, just to make it a little bit more interesting. And on this bin there was all these adverts of vehicles for sale, and you could buy a MiG-21 if you've got 16,666 euros for sale and they speak English. And this is probably my favourite shot of the entire day. That guy driving that bulldozer. If a guy looked like the machine he was driving, it's that guy. They both look as powerful as each other. I love the light coming through the dust. To finish off, a little bit of video. The Challenger tank being taken from its parking spot. You could climb all over that thing and get in it if you wanted to. But it made one hell of a racket when it moved. It was tremendous. And then they would bring it onto the arena. I dashed over to the arena to see it, and they pour some paraffin. And I saw diesel fuel on the hot exhaust to get this effect, this smoke screen. And what a way to finish my day. I was shattered when I got home, and absolutely loved it. I genuinely would recommend you go to see this event. It's absolutely fantastic. Hope you enjoyed that. Keep your heads down, drink plenty of water, and I'll play tanks again real soon, so stay tuned. Take care. Bye bye.